We are Outside the Pod, a Miami Dolphins podcast. Here are your outsiders, Danny D and Jules, the Ref Killer.
Welcome to, what episode is it? Number 4?
5.
5? Wow. So the exact number of subscribers, I believe, that we have. 5. So, yeah.
So we got a lot more viewers, though. We got a lot more viewers, so we got to get some of those viewers to subscribe, man.
Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, you know. If they don't like the Dolphins, I don't care. Just have them. We'll talk or talk trash about everybody. I'm trying to keep my and let people know PG-13, right? You might hear a couple other things. Maybe some sexual innuendos, whatever they're called. I don't know. Either way, episode 5, like our viewership, our subscribership, mostly friends and family. We're going to talk about the first quarter of the schedule. All right, so first 4 games out of the schedule on this episode. So stick with us while we get through that. But I wanted to kind of talk about why it is in the intro that we introduce my brother, Jules, as the Ref Killer. And I'll let him tell the story. He's looking like he's saying no, like he doesn't remember. But I remember this pretty good. Being a really young kid, was very proud of my older brother being put in the game because he wasn't a starting quarterback. Sorry, bro, I didn't want to put you out there like that. But hey, in high school, right? He was playing quarterback. He got put in one game, and he had a few passes here and there, but there was one in particular that he had. I don't remember if it was like slot receiver going down the middle and wide open. Jules slings it, freaking rocket down probably as hard as he could throw it. And there's that ref just standing there. You know, that one ref that kind of sits in the middle of the defense by the middle linebacker. And he's got some glasses on. And that rocket hits him right square in the middle of his glasses. Pow! Right there. And his glasses freaking just break in two down the middle and fall to the ground. And what's funniest, I swear it was in slow motion. Behind him was the receiver like this, ready to catch the ball. And just hits the ref. Glasses. Everybody's screaming. From then on, Jules was the Ref Killer.
All I got was high fives from the offensive line, man. They're really proud of me too, because that ref was like, cooking us the whole game, But yeah, no, I mean, I guess that was my one highlight, right? One highlight in high school football. I wasn't any good, man. I rode the bench my entire high school football career, but that was a fun game. I did start the next game though. After that, didn't too well at all, but I remember that pretty vividly, man.
Hey,
go ahead.
Yeah, disclaimer, man. So we're talking about Jules, who moved from Mexico to the United States to go to high schools, and never played football before that. So, don't sell yourself short, man. All these kids played football their whole freaking lives, and you started when you were already in freaking high school, and you could, unfortunately you weren't able to, get into some programs earlier. So I think you would have been all right. But either way, I had that opportunity, but I didn't take it. And, we're not very good players. We're just big fans. So enough about that. Let's get into the real meat and potatoes of today's episode. And like I said, our first contest will be September 7th against the Indianapolis Colts at their stadium in Indianapolis. That's going to be September 7th. So one thing that I want to throw out real quick is what I heard from Indianapolis fans is that they actually have a curse for their first home game, and that is that they basically never win this game. Since 2013, they haven't won at home that first home game, and it's going to be against us. So we got to keep that going.
Yeah, we can't be that one team that where they snap this streak, man, where we kill their curse. No, there's no way. We got to win this game. We got to go in there, fire it up, and make sure they keep this curse, because we don't want to be the one, where they break this curse. No way. No way. We don't want to be that team.
Exactly. Don't be the one. Don't be the one.
We got to come in fire, guns a blazing.
Yeah. So, other thing is, I know there's there's some things going around the internet that Anthony Richardson might be injured. Not sure for how long, and if Daniel Jones will be the quarterback for this game. Although at the same time, they're saying that Daniel Jones might beat out Anthony Richardson for the starting job, anyways. Either way, I think we're facing similar quarterbacks, regardless of who's playing. Right? I don't think we have to plan too different between the two as far as this team goes. But our concern mostly in this team and with Miami is our secondary. So for this game, we have to really make sure that we contain their running backs and their screens to try to, muffle our edge rush. So I think, secondary just being our biggest hole, the way that we would lose this game is by them softening up the rush, from our edge, and then opening up the rest of the field with Michael Pittman down the field. So, yeah, they might be a little bit motivated as well. Jim Irsay passed away this offseason, and they might just have maybe a little bit more oomph, especially for the first game at home. We're thinking, there's probably going to be emotions that game. They're probably going to have a memorial for him that day for opening season. And so they might be emotional. They might come with a little bit more motivation to beat us. And so we have to make sure we come in with, with our T's crossed and our I's dotted, ready to perform, especially given that our secondary is basically non-existent. It's just Kader Kohu by himself out there. So, Jules.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I think that they're going to be really confident, I would say, right? I mean, they're going to be really confident. They're going to be at home. They're going to have all these storylines going with Jim Irsay being gone and everything like that. So they're going to be really confident, really motivated to win, and I think they really believe that they can beat us. That's the thing, right? We have our issues with mobile quarterbacks. Both of these guys are mobile. I think it'll be Daniel Jones most likely, right? So, and we have some problems with that, and I think they know that. I think they know that we are going to be coming as far as the defensive line is concerned. I think one of the strongest in the league. So I think they're gonna try to be ready for that. Probably try to go to the outside. Probably try to release quickly. So any quick hit kind of strikes out in the open, out in the flats. I mean, with screens and things like that. I think that to kind of minimize the rush or get it out quick. I think that's what they're gonna try to do. So, and we're gonna have to be ready for that. And so we'll see. It makes me nervous with that in that regard, but I think as long as we can control that and get to the quarterback, if we get to the quarterback, I think we should be able to win.
Yeah, this definitely should, like we said in the beginning, this game right here, we should continue the curse of the Colts not winning a home game, their first home game since 2013. It's going to be another year, 2025. Dolphins are probably going to win this game. And we're moving forward to 14 September against the New England Patriots. Division is coming up the next 3 weeks. New England Patriots first. Drake May's second year. Didn't do so bad the first year. He was an okay rookie. I think he's got a lot to show, and he showed a lot of flashes. He struggled against us, though, last year. So we beat him up pretty good. Chop Robinson was in the backfield a lot and giving him hell. And I think we kind of rushed him a little bit. Again, he was a rookie. He made a few turnovers, but hey, like I said, Chop Robinson, especially for the second half of the year, he was coming into real good form. I think we all saw that. And yeah, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. They added Stephon Diggs, though. That's a big playmaker. I mean, we've been facing him against Buffalo for a couple of years, and now the New England Patriots are going to have him. So there's another weapon for him to have on the O side. On the D side, they got a pretty good line, not complete, but they do have Barmore, so they could run disrupt a little bit if we're we don't have our good line play. They might be stopping Achan a little early. But I think with the addition of Noah in there in the interior, I think we're gonna do pretty good. I think he's a very stout, very mobile offensive guard, and I think he's going to be good for a run game, especially against some of these defenses like the Patriots, where their interior is not as good as some others. And then obviously the biggest change, which could kind of work in our advantage, right, because they're in transition, is Mike Vrabel being the new head coach. Knowing that he's a great head coach, he's a pretty good head coach. He's got a good history behind him. He was a former Patriot. He's off of the Belichick era, and he could be a problem in the future. But I think right now in transition, we might have a pretty good chance to continue to stomp him 3 in a row, 4 in a row this year. I think we have a good chance of sweeping the Patriots again this year as well, just because they're in transition. What do you think, Jules?
Yeah, man. We did good against the Patriots last year. I think again. I mean, any NFL team, that's gone through that, getting swept, from one year to the next, they're going to be motivated. I think with Vrabel in there, they're going to be a really disciplined team. So I expect some of those mistakes that they've had. I think some of those things that they can correct, they will with Vrabel because of what he brings to the team. I think they're going to be a little bit more disciplined, less mistakes and that kind of thing. So I expect this to be a pretty good game. I think that Drake May in his second year, I think is going to be, I think we're going to see a very good Drake May this year. So that does become a scary thought, that the Patriots, might be improving, when you could say they hit rock bottom, but now you can see the improvement, right, year to year from last year to this year. And I think going forward, I think they have some very good pieces that they can hang their hat on for a long while. So I can see that happening. And that's, I hate to say this, but it looks like in some ways we're heading in opposite directions, and that's sad to say because, here it is, the Patriots, where we thought they're taking a step back, they're going to rebuild, they're going to do all this stuff from, a couple years ago. And now you can see that we're heading in the opposite direction. That makes me, kind of upset, man. Like, what are we doing, man?
Right.
As a fan, what are we doing? This is what you want for your team, and you think you got the opportunity. You think you got the pieces, and now you're in situations where you don't even know how your secondary is going to look like. Your linebacking core looks suspect. And you got these teams like the Patriots, and you can see them improving. You can see some pieces, some nice pieces that they're picking up, and we're going in opposite directions. And that thing, that kind of sucks, man. I hate to say it, but it's annoying. I mean, sorry for bleep it out or whatever, but damn.
Yeah,
this is annoying.
Easy to bleep those out. No worries. But hey, I did miss one good piece that the New England Patriots have on the defensive side. That's Christian Gonzalez. He's probably going to be back on the field. I know he missed part of the last season, and he's going to be a problem for Tyreek Hill as well in these games. So we need the other offensive pieces to make sure that they're stepping up their game, and then that way they soften him up, and then Hill could get down the sideline as well. So yeah, anyway, good. I still think because it's going to be in Miami on September 14th, it's going to be hot as hell. And, I think we got an advantage over the Patriots for this game as well. I think we're 2-0 at this point. So, moving into the next game against our nemesis, the Buffalo Bills. What do you think?
Man, we're gonna be on national TV Thursday night. That's a big game for us, man. This is a big one. The lights are on, prime time. But I don't know, man. This is going to be scary for us, I think. I don't think we do well. I don't think we do well against Buffalo in this game. I know it's at Buffalo, and I know it's warmer temperatures. We're not going to go over there when it's freaking snowy and, not minus 19 degrees and stuff like that. So that is great. That is a good sign. But, I don't know. This game makes me nervous. I think we're going to have to score a lot of points in order to win this game. I think Josh Allen is always very super confident against us. We can't seem to tackle the guy when he's out in the open running. We just miss him all the time, just a lot of whiffs. We were joking before the podcast that, I think people are scared of Josh Allen coming at you and don't really want to hit him.
Yeah.
But yeah, this game really makes me nervous. I'm not. I guess we could talk about what we predict as far as the records, but we really got to score a lot of points here, and I just don't see how we can beat them at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I'm there with you. I think it's better to be in warm season still in September while we go to Buffalo to play. It's better than when it's, December, right? And it's going to be snowy and cold, and Tua's from Hawaii and the islands of Samoa. He's got the little hands, all that stuff. I'm sorry, Tua. I really do like you, man. I really do like you, bro. But yeah, so the biggest chance for us is a warm Buffalo if we're going to sweep the Bills. And I'm not saying we will. I'm just saying that our biggest chance is when we play the Bills still in September at Buffalo. And then obviously it's going to be warm for the second game in Miami. So our biggest chance to taking a good, sweep of the series against the Bills, it'd be this year for these games.
It's right. It's I think if we ever have the odds in favor as far as home field advantage, it's probably this year. We need to take advantage of that this year. That we're not playing in Buffalo in the freezing cold. But still, I think if you go down the roster, man, speaking of roster, we haven't even talked about Joey Bosa.
Yeah.
You look at it on paper, and we're not gonna have. There's no publication or sports website out there or any podcast that's gonna pick the Dolphins to win this game. I don't think.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I was just stating that we have a good weather game other than, besides or not vice, a cold weather game in Buffalo. That's all I was mostly stating, but you're completely right. And again, this is early, even though we're late to everybody else. Everybody else already had their spill on the schedule, but this is still an early talk on how the season's going to go this first quarter.
Yeah.
This is not us saying this is exactly what it's not our picks really. We'll get every pick once the season starts. But, again, this is early. We're just talking about how we're feeling about the team as it stands today, with everybody leaving or asking for more money or whatever the case may be, and how it may look for these games. So, yeah, Joey Bosa is a pickup for the Bills. He's going to be a test for Patrick Paul. And, we'll have to really be ready to battle and score a bunch of points, because our secondary is not stopping, Kincaid. They're not stopping freaking Khalil, Shakir, none of those guys. So we need to move the ball on our side as well. We need to make sure that we make their defense play, and we need to make sure that we try to get as much pressure and maybe some turnovers on Josh Allen. So following this game, though, We'll go off for about 10, 11 days, and we'll go to Monday Night Football against the Jets, another divisional game. But what's the scary part about this is that last time we played Justin Fields, we beat him, but he ran for 178 yards, scored 32 points. Where we scored 35, which is, it was when he was with the Bears, not a great team, but we definitely know that he could be dangerous against us. and mobile quarterbacks are always dangerous against the Dolphins. Justin Fields is one of them. We can't let this happen. We need to make sure we have a good spy on him, and we need to make sure we take that away from him. And he's also going to have a good weapon with Garrett Wilson. So, something that he probably didn't have in Chicago in those years when we played him last. So this is going to be a different look. I don't think he's a great quarterback, but he definitely can run the football. And he could run the football in Miami. What do you think, Jules?
Well, he definitely did that, right? He definitely did. He shredded us that game, right? That was crazy. It was crazy that we were able to win that game. But yeah, I mean, and he's going to do a lot of running, I would say, because, we have the defensive line to, kind of put some pressure on him, and he's going to be pressured all day, I would say. And I guess it depends on the game plan. You're probably going to have quick passes on his game plan and trying to get the ball out early. And he's going to try to hand off so it also depends on how we play the run and stuff like that. If we're stopping the run, then he's definitely going to have to throw some passes. We get the lead early. He's going to definitely have to throw. And so we're going to try to put a lot of pressure on him probably. And he's going to do some running. And, this is one of the things that we haven't been doing so well against is the running quarterback, as we've already stated. And with all the question marks we have, that kind of stuff makes me nervous. The mobile quarterback and the quarterback that can get down the field with his legs. We're gonna have 3 guys in these first 4 games that kind of can do that and pose some problems for us, and that makes me kind of nervous.
Yeah.
So,
not to say that Drake May's legs are not also capable.
Right.
But yeah,
right.
I mean. But for sure, Justin Fields and Josh Allen, definitely the scariest ones to when they pull back the football and tuck it in and run. So yeah, but, Sauce Gardner, also a problem for Tyreek Hill. I'm looking for Waddle to step up his game. Needs to be focused this year and needs to get back to a 1,000-yard freaking receiving season again. And I'm looking for Waddle to have a big jump this year, hopefully, if we're going to be successful with our offense. Defense is probably something that we're not going to be able to recover from unless a miracle happens, either for some reason. Yeah, I would say Jalen Ramsey, maybe we get a miracle, but no, that ship has sailed. And unless we have a miracle where we trade him and we get at least somewhat of a capable safety or another cornerback to try to help the secondary make some tackles, that would be great. And obviously cover some receivers. But yeah, so that's our first 4 games. That's the first quarter of the season. Want to know how everybody that's out there listening to us, how do you feel? What is your take on these first 4 games? Are you nervous? Are you nervous that it's the divisional rivals right up front? What do you think? Are we gonna be 3-1? Are we gonna be 1-3? Are we gonna be 0-4? Let us know what you think. Let's start a conversation again. We're ready, to make sure that we answer everybody's questions and have and be fans together and talk about this. Maybe we start a revolution. We get this team to the promised land someday. Jules, you got any closing thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. I think we want to build a community, talk about football. We're just fans just like everyone else, so we just want to, talk about our favorite sport, favorite game, favorite team. And if you're not a fan of the Dolphins, awesome. Just come in. We can talk about the matchups or whatever. Different players and coaches or whatever. Just talking football, have a beer with us. We like to have our, throw down a couple when we can. But, yeah, just, come out, join us, give us a like, give us some comments. And, we definitely appreciate that support.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave us a comment, leave us a question, or let us know how you think the first 4 games are going to go. We'll see you next episode. Hopefully we got some more news about trades, but for sure we're going to talk about the second quarter of the schedule for the 2025 season. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. See you next time here on Outside D Pod, a Miami Dolphins podcast. Have a good one. Fins up.
Hands up.